Look at this. We're finally building it. 27 and 1, 2, 3/8.
Do it, Daddy, do it.
All right, here we go. Episode 1 of the wash plant build. Stick around, we're gonna build some trays and get the foundation all set up. So, hope you enjoy. Sit back, relax, and I'll see you guys at the end. So I decided that the screen is too weak. I'm worried about it getting another rip just like it did before, with barely anything rubbing against it. So I'm gonna put another piece of 1/8 inch, I think, or no, 1/4 inch. I think it's 1/4 inch. I'm gonna put a piece of 1/4 inch behind it just to strengthen it. So I gotta take it back apart. Okay, so I got my 3 screens made. 1/2 inch, that's the one I was using the first time. 1/4 inch. And then this is a metal screen with the 1/4 inch behind it for support. So that should catch all my material, and then it'll be just pure mud and silt flowing through the sluice. So getting some of this wood cut up for the side pieces of the trays. All of this wood I got from a guy who has a mill in Southern Oregon. So it's like a small time guy. He made a delivery of all this wood that you see here. It was like $300. And funny story, when he dropped it all off, I left my cell phone on the back of his trailer, and he drove all the way down to Redding, and the cell phone was still sitting there. He went to go make his next drop off, and he gave me a call, and nice enough guy to, on his way back, he delivered it. Okay, here's the 1/2 inch tray. Six and a half inches tall. It'll be tray 2. Okay, so all 4 of the trays are done, sitting right over there. So the next process is going to be to mount the stabilizing legs. So I've got the stabilizing legs right here, and what I need to do is pre-drill some holes in the 4x4s that I have over here. And then these are the custom U-bolts that I ordered that are long enough to go through a 4x4 and the right size that it'll be able to hold the metal pipe that the stabilizing leg goes into. So I was kind of surprised to see that nobody in town had long enough U-bolts to do what I needed. And so with that, I started to look for other options. One that I was really close to using was the Unistrut design, but then it ended up just being too many pieces as well. So had to order these U-bolts custom. Okay, the first one's in. I'm having to use a mini sledge to pound the U-bolts through, but it's holding pretty good so far. Just with a little bit of light tapping back the U-bolts. So 7 more to go. I also spent a lot of time trying to find the right type of pipe that the scaffolding legs would go in, that black pipe that you see right there. I think this is schedule 10. I went to Gerlinger down in Reading and just had them cut me 8 pieces, 2 feet long, for the scaffolding pipe to go in. I mean, the scaffolding legs. So this part of the design is necessary because underneath all this, it's going to be where the water is held for the recirculating sluice. So this whole platform that I'm making has to be elevated so that the gravity can collect the water and then we can recirculate it. Also, another bonus that I get out of using the elevated design is that I can put this plant on any terrain and then stabilize it and level it with those adjustable legs. So this part is kind of a pain, and I wish I didn't have to do this part of it, but it's necessary to get the gravity-fed recirculating system. So just get these last few bolts tightened up and secured, and then we'll move on to getting this whole thing stood up. At this point of the build, I still didn't know exactly how big this whole thing was going to be. So the initial design was based off those classifying trays and the size that they needed to be to fit inside a wheelbarrow. So at any point, I can switch out what size classifying trays I'm using in the system. So I'm getting the rough outline measured out here with the wood, and then I'll get it stood up. So yesterday I stood all the posts up with help from my wife and my son, just to get a visual feel for how things were going to be. And the biggest factor I think that I tried to work around and ignore for the longest part of designing this whole thing was how tall it was going to end up being. I was hoping that I would be able to just throw the rocks into the top without it being too tall, but I think that that's going to be a bigger factor than I had hoped for. So with that said, I think I'm going to redesign most of it to have a similar shape to what you're seeing now, but to have a ramp built into it. I think that's going to be the easiest way, is just have a ramp built into it that I could push the wheelbarrow up to, and eliminate that factor of the design. So going forward, gonna make some more modifications, but I'm kind of back to the drawing board with where I want to be at this part.